Hey everyone, Spider-Pax here, and today I'm going to be getting a lot of hate in the comments down below. Because, yes, it's going to be one of those videos. I'm making a video about my opinions, and I know how people tend to hate my opinions. So, let's get on with it, with today's video being Spider-Pax's list of underrated superhero movies. It's a top 10 list, starting with number 10, Punisher Warzone. I love Punisher Warzone. I think it's probably the best Punisher movie that's come out. And I know that's gonna rub fans along the wrong way, because anytime somebody mentions Punisher Warzone, mentions loving Punisher Warzone, or Punisher Warzone being their favorite, a bunch of Tom Jane fans decide to get butthurt and basically trash an opinion that isn't theirs. But I'm gonna be real with you. I didn't really like Thomas Jane's Punisher. I didn't feel he was comic accurate enough. Ray Stevenson's Punisher is comic accurate to the letter. It's like he jumped off the pages of the comics. Now, normally when I see people talking about Punisher Warzone, I rarely see anybody saying that it's a good movie. Even though it's probably the most comic accurate Punisher we've gotten. And beyond just being comic accurate, it's an entertaining film. It's funny, it's action packed, it's bloody, it's amazing. Next up on the list, I know I'm gonna receive a lot of flack for this one, because people are gonna hate me for saying this, but Fantastic Four. And no, I'm not talking about the early 2000 ones. I'm talking about the one that's considered what it's called Fan Four Stick. Fantastic Four 2015. Now, I'm not going to tell you that it's a perfect movie. By all means, it is not a perfect movie. It has a lot of flaws. But as a Fantastic Four film, as a unique Fantastic Four film, and entertaining superhero film, I'd say it has a right to be on this list. Next up, Daredevil. And no, I'm not talking about Charlie Cox's Daredevil. I know a lot of people think him as the enormous Daredevil nowadays, but before him, there was a guy who played Daredevil before him. And that was Ben Affleck. Yeah, the roided up Batman from Batman v Superman and Justice League. He played Daredevil. Honestly, I know a lot of people are going to hate me for this one as well, for saying that one as well. Just because anytime somebody mentions Ben Affleck's Daredevil, a stream of angsty fans start crying as if they lost their eyeliner at a goth convention. I know. A lot of people hate this movie. I don't. The Ben Affleck Daredevil movie was my first introduction to the Daredevil character. And honestly, even though it is a flawed movie, I enjoy it. I still enjoy it. Especially the rated R extended cut. Next up, this is going to be a relatively obscure one. So, way before the MCU, way before, actually, yeah, somewhat before the Raimi Spider-Man films made superhero films popular again, there was one superhero in particular, or anti-hero in particular, that made superheroes popular on the big screen. And that was Blade. He had 3 films. Blade 1, Blade 2, and then Blade Trinity. Blade 1 was a resounding success and jump-started the popularity for superhero films again in cinema. Blade 2 was an amazing sequel, an amazing horror film directed by Guillermo del Toro, of all people. But unfortunately, and I say this heartbreakingly, Blade Trinity wasn't as well received. Now, I know there was a lot of problems behind the scenes for Blade Trinity, especially with Wesley Snipes openly saying he hated the director for Blade Trinity and would not even address him in person. He hated the director that badly. And how they had to CGI his eyes open just because he refused to open his eyes for one scene in the movie. I know. I know a lot of people are gonna get butthurt with me on this one because a lot of people say that Blade Trinity is probably the worst of the franchise. Me, I think it's probably the best of the franchise. Especially because they have my favorite actor in it, Ryan Reynolds. Next up, this one's gonna be a major gut punch to a certain community of fans because anytime anybody mentions this movie, a certain herd of fans get ready to send pipe bombs to your mailbox. And that movie is Hellboy 2019. You know, the one with David Harbour. Wasn't as big as the Guillermo del Toro movies. Bit of a smaller budget. Also was rated R. That one. I think I think it's a very underrated superhero movie. Very underrated. The action is amazing. The jokes are funny. The story and the way the story is paced feels like it jumps straight out of a Hellboy comic book. I think it's probably the second most comic accurate Hellboy movie we've gotten. With the first most comic accurate Hellboy movie being next on the list. Hellboy the Crooked Man. Now, I know a lot of people are sitting here watching this video wondering, the fuck is Crooked Man? A lot of people have probably never even heard of that movie. A lot of fans probably didn't even know the movie existed. And that's unfortunately because for some dumbass reason, the movie never released theatrically in America. It was a straight direct-to-DVD streaming service film. Not even streaming service. It was a straight-up direct-to-DVD. It was supposed to release in theaters, but due to unpopularity overseas, they just decided to can release it in theaters in America. Which is unfortunate because I watched it and it was a really entertaining movie. I thought it was a really good horror movie and a really good Hellboy movie, especially the latter. It feels like it jumped straight out of the comics, word for fucking word. Next up on the list is another movie a lot of people, if you didn't grow up in the early 2000s, if you didn't care for the early 2000s movies, superhero movies, if you were in that kind of boat, you probably never heard of this movie. And that movie is Jonah Hex. Now, I know a lot of the big reason why this movie didn't do very well in theaters and with fans is just because Jonah Hex isn't really that popular of a DC character. Jonah Hex is not that popular of a DC character. He's very much a very obscure, low-rated DC character. But me, on the other hand, I personally enjoyed it. Even though not really knowing the characters, not really knowing much about the character from the comics. I haven't really read the comics. I watched the movie and I personally enjoyed it. I thought it was fairly entertaining. As a superhero movie, it's not really that great as a superhero movie, but as a Western movie, I'd say it's fucking awesome. Next up, this is probably gonna upset a lot of Zack Snyder fans to know this movie is underrated. Watchmen. I know a lot of fans are probably wondering, wait a minute, that movie's underrated? And unfortunately, yes, it is. A lot of Zack Snyder fans and a lot of DC fans probably don't realize Watchmen is actually considered a flop. As a matter of fact, both versions of Watchmen, of the live action Watchmen, the movie and the TV show, are considered flops. And I I know they're not connected in any, or not really connected in any way. I don't think they're connected in any way. I could be wrong. I know the Watchmen TV show is actually based more off the comics than it is based off the movie. But it's still considered very underrated. And unfortunately, that's why it makes this list. We're on the final two, and they're both from the same company, same universe, same everything. Top number 2 of most underrated superhero movies, Kraven the Hunter. Now, I know you probably saw my review on this channel a long time ago where I said I personally enjoyed Kraven Hunter. And I still fall behind that review. I think Kraven the Hunter was probably the best superhero movie that came out last year. And finally, the final superhero movie on this list, Morbius. No, it's not a joke. I loved Morbius. I watched it in theaters when it came out the first time. I watched the whole fucking movie and I enjoyed every moment of it. I thought it was extremely faithful to the comics, story-wise. And I thought it was just an entertaining vampire movie. I know a lot of people hated the stiff acting and the post-credit scene and how none of the Sony Spider-Man movies had Spider-Man in them. But I didn't care. I enjoyed them. I enjoyed all but one of them. Let me correct myself. If you enjoyed this video, like, favorite, subscribe. And if you want to see future content, not just on this channel, but also on my TikTok and Instagram, then follow me on TikTok and Instagram. Their links will be in the description below. Like, favorite, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.